Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. New year, new studio. How are y'all liking this new arrangement? I'm obsessed. I think it's really, really nice. Comment below and let me know. But today we're gonna be talking about your 2021 hair goals, and I'm gonna give you all the tips and all the tricks on how you're gonna achieve it this year. Like, you're actually gonna have your hair goals by the end of this year because I wanna help y'all. I literally asked you guys to submit your 2021 hair goals. They're amazing, by the way. I went through a ton of them and I've kind of lumped them all together. A lot of you guys had like really, really similar or like the exact same hair goals. So I'm going to be addressing and giving my top tips and my top advice for the most requested hair goals this year. Let's get into it. All right, so first and foremost, let's go ahead and start with the hair goal that was like the most common hair goal. I'm sure y'all can guess it, and that is for hair growth. Everybody wants the long hair. In order to get your hair to grow, honestly, it needs to be as healthy as possible. And you'll actually find that by the end of this video, the main thing for majority of goals, if not all hair goals, is to make sure to keep your hair as nice and healthy as possible. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do if you are really, really trying to focus on growing your hair this year and getting the length of your dreams, you're first gonna need to go ahead and develop a consistent natural hair regimen. All right, you are going to need to commit to your curls. That's the first step. How bad do you want the growth? So developing a consistent regimen is massively important, not even just for hair growth, but in general, just for the health of your hair. Being really consistent and just committed to making sure that you're taking care of your hair on a regular, consistent basis is going to change the game for your hair. And you don't need to get overwhelmed or anything, because honestly, it can be just as simple as literally making sure once a week, pick your day. For me, it's usually Sundays, where you do your deep treatments every single week. That should be at the very least that you do. It just means basically that your hair is getting extra nutrients on a consistent basis. And that is literally the recipe for healthy hair and hair that's gonna grow. With those weekly deep treatments, quick tip, you're gonna wanna make sure that you are going to develop a really nice balance between moisture and protein. Now, so you don't wanna just kill your hair with like moisture every single week. You wanna make sure that you're getting your protein treatments in there as well. Basically, what I like to do is 1 week protein, 1 week moisture, and I just alternate it like that. That tends to kind of work for my curls. At the end of the day, you gotta listen to your curls and figure out exactly what's gonna work for you. But yeah, just make sure you have at least one of each product. So 1 moisture treatment and 1 protein treatment. Now, I always hear this when people say that they wanna grow their hair, they stop trimming it. They completely stop trimming it because they think that, you know, it's a natural thing, right? You think that, okay, why am I gonna cut something that I'm trying to grow? But actually, I'm gonna tell you, it's the 100% opposite of that. If you stop taking care of like cleaning off those dead ends, getting rid of those single strand knots, getting rid of the split ends, all of that stuff, if you stop cutting that off, you're gonna have some real problems with your hair. By getting regular and consistent trims, you are allowing your hair, they call it like oxygenating the hair, right? You're getting rid of those dead ends and you're literally allowing life, allowing air right back into your curls. I mean, you guys will notice it literally every single time after a trim. Your hair is always so popping, it feels so good, and that's because you're literally giving it a really nice refresh and just literal actual new life. So I definitely suggest that you stay consistent with your trims. I like to suggest trimming every 4 to 6 months. If you feel like your hair generally grows a little bit on the slower side, then definitely maybe stretch to every 6 months. For me, it's definitely around like the 5-month mark. When I hit 5 months after my last trim, my hair literally tells me it's time. That's when I notice an increase in shedding. When I do my wash and goes, my wash and goes tend to last a little bit less. I notice a lot more tangles because the single strand knots and the extra hair that's in there is just all knotted together. Your hair will literally tell you when it's time to go. So it's really just a matter of staying on top of the time or just listening out for your hair and saying, okay, yep, it's actually that time to go for a trim. I promise you, trims are not gonna prevent you from the hair growth that you've always dreamed of. It's actually going to help you get there because you need to make sure that your hair is staying really, really nice and healthy along the way so that it'll continue to grow. All right, so consistent trims. Another thing that you should do is make sure not to neglect your scalp. definitely make sure that you're taking care of your scalp. I absolutely love using scalp serums. You literally cannot go wrong if you're gonna do all these tips. I know that it's gonna sound a little bit like a chore. Like, I'm gonna tell you now, it's going to take intentional work and it's gonna take commitment. Some Sundays you're gonna feel too tired. You're gonna feel like, no, I don't feel like dealing with this hair. I don't feel like doing the deep treatment, but you just gotta keep reminding yourself, like, if this really is your goal, it should be that important to you for you to say, you know what, even though I'm tired, I'm gonna do it. And I'm going to really look forward to the hair length of my dreams by the end of this year. I got you. So those are my general top hair growth tips. I do have an entire video dedicated to how I grew out my big chop, as well as some additional hair growth tips in that video. So I'll go ahead and link it up here and in the description box below if you guys want to check that out as well for a little bit of like additional detail. So the next goal that I saw a ton of people mentioning is how to retain more moisture and have less frizz. I mean, that's a whole curly girl issue, right? We deal with so much frizz and it's really, really hard to keep your hair nice and moisturized and happy and juicy and feeling good. And I'm gonna tell you exactly how you're gonna keep your curls moisturized, and we're saying goodbye to frizz in 2021. So similar to what I mentioned for the hair growth tips, you do need to work really hard on maintaining a protein and moisture balance. Again, you can be very, very tempted when it's like, oh, my hair needs more moisture, it just feels so dry. So you just wanna slap on moisture treatment after moisture treatment, moisture styling products. And let me tell you, there's actually something called moisture overload, and you definitely don't want that, because then by putting too much moisture in, you will get hair that is actually the opposite of what you really wanted. So when you have moisture overload in your hair, it's gonna feel like your hair is overly soft, your curl definition is not really popping, you'll notice additional frizz, and your hair is just not gonna last as long. It feels a little bit limp, a little bit weighed down. Those are the biggest signs of moisture overload. So if you have been continuously just slapping on the moisture in your hair, it's now time to do a really nice deep cleanse and then get into some protein treatments. Now, on the other hand, it is also possible to have a protein overload. So when you do have a protein overload, your hair is a little bit more brittle, it's dry, it will snap. Like if it snags, it'll snap a lot easier. Might notice a little bit of additional breakage. So you definitely don't want to overdo it with the protein either. So this is why it's so important to find that middle ground, because when you have that perfect balance between the two, I'm telling you, that is where you're gonna find your best hair days ever. So work really hard on trying to develop a protein and moisture balance for your curls, because honestly, for everybody, it looks really different depending on hair density, depending on hair porosity. It's literally gonna look different for everybody. So what I always like to suggest is start out by alternating weekly, which is kind of my schedule. That's kind of what I do. So I'll do moisture one week and protein the next week, and then you can continue going on like that and just waiting and seeing how your hair responds. Sometimes you might find, I know a lot of people's hair are actually protein sensitive, so you might find that just by alternating like that, you'll see that you still kind of have a little bit of a protein overload. So then from there, you can then move on to doing moisture, and then protein. You know what I mean? And then keep experimenting and working with it, listening to your hair, and eventually you will find that perfect balance. You'll know exactly what to do. I know it sounds a little bit like work, but literally all you have to do is keep up with your weekly treatments and then just listen to your hair. See how it responds, and then kind of alter what you're using based on what you think your hair needs. So I definitely say that's probably the biggest tip that I would give for somebody who's lacking moisture or finding it difficult to retain moisture in their hair. But I will say that it's still possible to have dry hair, or have dry hair after day 2 or day 3 of washing your hair, even when you have a really great moisture protein balance. And so for that, I would definitely suggest a couple of things. So first, when you're doing your wash and goes, your twist outs, or however you're styling your hair, make sure that you are sectioning your hair. Again, I'm actually very guilty of this. I will say sometimes I can become a little bit of a lazy natural. I don't like to do a ton of little sections when styling my hair. It can be a little annoying to have to do that, but I will say that if you are struggling with moisture, this is definitely something that can help. So depending on your hair's thickness, your hair's density, the more thick that your hair is the more sections you should be doing, because you want to make sure that you're getting the product to every single hair strand. Your hair could simply just be dry because it didn't get any leave-in conditioner that day. It didn't get any gel to kind of seal it all in, you know what I mean? So once you're sectioning, you are actually making sure that every single strand is coated with product, it's being treated, it's getting the nutrients. All right, so make sure that you are sectioning your hair. You don't have to go crazy, you don't have to do like 10 sections, okay? It doesn't have to be all of that, but maybe you do, you know, half up, half down, and split each half in half again. So you end up with maybe 4 sections. I've actually found that 4 sections is the way that my curls like look the most poppin'. So go ahead and maybe try that first. If you have thicker hair than me, then maybe you wanna try 6 sections. And I promise you, just by putting in that little bit of extra work, that little bit of extra care, it will make all the difference in your styling. Another tip for more moisture and less frizz is to also utilize gel. I know there are some naturalistas out there who are still not sure about gel. I know years ago gel was kind of a drying thing for hair, like gel just wasn't a good thing years ago, but now we're here, okay? We got the good gels, we got the nutrient dense gels, all right? And I 10 out of 10 recommend, if you hate frizz, you need gel, I promise you. Unless you're doing a twist out, perm rod set, anything like that, you're twisting your hair, you know, you're keeping it nice and compressed and under control. But for wash and goes, you're gonna need to get some gel. All right, then my last tip for kind of getting more moisture into your hair and getting rid of the frizz is gonna be to potentially wash your hair a little bit more often. I'm sorry, I know that's again another chore. Nobody likes to put in all that effort more than once a week, but honestly, I have to tell you, because y'all want my tips, so I'm gonna give you my tips. And literally for my hair, it actually likes to be washed every 4 to 5 days or so. If I wait a week, wash days are even harder for me, and my hair just tends to get a lot drier. It feels like it's missing something. It's just bottom line, my hair prefers that. It's like washing it before it actually gets that really dry and brittle state. And really and truly, by washing more often, each wash day will be like, you'll have less knots than you would if you wait a whole week. You'll have to use probably less product because your hair is not as dry as it would have been if you'd waited a week, you know? So I know it sounds like annoying, like, oh, washing my hair more often, nobody wants to do that. But your wash days won't necessarily be as crazy, as intensive as they need to be every week. So those are my tips on moisture and getting rid of frizz. I will say I did another video about retaining moisture specifically in the winter. So if you guys are interested in hearing a little bit more in-depth tips on that specifically for this time of year right now, if you're struggling right now, I definitely suggest you check out that video. It'll be linked up here and in the description box below. All right, and then the third and final goal that I saw repetitively over and over again in the goals that you guys submitted is longer lasting curl definition. Gone are the days, I promise you, where we do wash and goes, you put in all the effort, and then by day 2, day 3, it's like, all right, she gotta go up in a bun. Sis. Now let me tell you how we're gonna fix that. You gotta find the products that are gonna work for you. I have come on here and I do like my favorites videos, my favorite wash and go, my current favorite treatment. You guys have seen those. Those are the product cocktails that work for me. So they're potential to work for you, but definitely not confirmed. It might be that curl mousse does work for you, but maybe you need to use a different gel with it. You know, everybody's curls are gonna be 100% different, literally. So what I want to suggest to you guys is to continue experimenting. Don't give up, okay? Honestly, I also have to say, like, the more that you do wash and goes specifically is the better that they look. Like when I started doing twist outs, my wash and goes did not look as good until I started doing back-to-back wash and goes again. And I don't know if that more has to do with like training your curls to kind of do what you want them to do, but I definitely have noticed that. So if you're trying to get better at specifically getting longer lasting curl definition with wash and goes, keep doing wash and goes. Don't give up. Don't do it 1 week, it doesn't really work, so then you do something else the next week. Like literally keep doing them. Keep experimenting every week or every 4 days, however often you wash. Just keep going, keep experimenting, and I promise you, you are going to find what you need. And in terms of experimenting, you don't necessarily have to be experimenting with 100 different products every single week. What you can do is actually experiment with the products that you have and try different like cocktail options with all the products that you already have. So I'm talking about like mixing gels together, mixing mousse and gel, mixing mousse and 2 gels, which sometimes works magic for me. I mean, you guys saw that in my current updated wash day video. Mix and match and do all the fun stuff. I promise, like it gets kind of exciting actually doing wash and go experiments. It's really fun. And if you're not the type to actually experiment yourself, you can kind of like, if you have hair like me that's similar to mine, you can just check out my channel. I have a ton of wash and go experiments, of a ton more to come to the channel as well. So if you guys want to kind of experiment through me, you can do that as well. Another factor that is huge on how long your curl definition is actually gonna last is how you go to bed at night. I know this is a huge thing. It's a huge like gray area for curly girls. Everybody kind of does it different. I swear by the pineapple at night routine. I sleep on a silk pillowcase and I clip my hair up in a pineapple with a silk scrunchie. Period. That's it. That's all I do. Nothing complicated, nothing crazy, just a loose pineapple at the top of my head, and that is it. If your curls have a harder time holding curl definition, you may also decide to use a bonnet. I've seen a lot of curly girls have better success with using a bonnet as opposed to kind of leaving the pineapple out at night. I guess it just leaves kind of less room for friction and all that as you're moving around at night. So a bonnet is definitely something that I would suggest you try out as well. Definitely also stick to the silk though. No cotton, no microfiber, not for nighttime, okay? Microfiber is great for drying your hair on wash days and stuff, but don't use microfiber necessarily for nighttime and to lay on, you know? You're gonna want that silk or satin. Either one of those can work. You're also gonna wanna make sure that you are putting in enough effort on wash day to make sure those curls are going to last you through the night and the nights to come. If you're really trying to get insane curl definition, let's say you are a working woman, you work 5 days out of the week, you don't have time to do another wash day until maybe Friday night or Saturday morning, fine, totally get it, nothing at all wrong with that. What I will say is that you gotta put in a little bit extra effort, a little bit of extra product, maybe do some extra sections on your wash day. Don't skimp on your wash day and then expect your curls to last you a full 5 days and look poppin' every single day. When I put in the most effort, do the smallest sections, put in the gel, like that is when my curl definition is gonna last. So you're gonna wanna make sure, just put in that effort, put in the work, and I promise you will reap the reward. So yeah, with those tips, including all the ones that I mentioned for the other hair goals as well, like will definitely all help, because literally you guys can see, like bottom line, once your curls are popping, you'll notice that your hair will grow, you'll notice that it retains more moisture, there'll be less frizz, and you'll notice that your curl definition is gonna last as well. So at the end of the day, everybody's goal is really just healthy, happy hair, and this is exactly how you get it. It's nothing complicated. It's literally about commitment and consistency, and I promise you, you got it. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you guys what my hair goals are. So, my hair goals are to continue keeping my hair nice, happy, and healthy, and also try really hard not to give in to the temptation of cutting my hair again. I'm trying to keep it growing and going. My hair right now, let me show you guys. When it's stretched, it's right here, but guess what? I want it to be right here, unstretched. So we got a couple inches to go, right? So that's really my goal, is to just really try hard to not chop it off again and just basically keep on keeping on. So we'll see. Hopefully you guys can keep me accountable with this, as I will keep you accountable with all your goals. Well, this was fun. If you guys have any more additional questions for me, go ahead and comment them below. And thanks so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end and you did enjoy this, go ahead and give your girl a little thumbs up. And also don't forget to hit subscribe. If you are new here, welcome. I don't want you to miss any of my new videos ever again, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. And that's basically it. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.